You know, every organization, no matter how big or small, has to face a simple truth. A cyber attack isn't a question of if, it's a question of when. And when that day comes, the only thing separating total chaos from a controlled response is having a plan. So let's dive in and see what happens when you don't have one.
Okay, picture this. You're Brody, a security analyst. It's a pretty quiet day in the Security Operations Center. Then, boom, a single little alert pops up on your screen. The intrusion detection system has flagged some malicious traffic on a branch network. No biggie, right? You just pick up the phone to call the local tech. But then another alert flashes, and another one. Mobile, Athens, Auburn. They just keep piling up. And here's where your stomach drops. The system is saying all this traffic is coming from other branches inside the company. The call is coming from inside the house.
Okay, this is different. This is way bigger than your standard everyday attack. So Brody does what anyone would do. He calls his boss, Nick. Boss, it's Brody. I think we've got a real problem here. Web servers in a bunch of offices are getting hit, and it looks like it's coming from our own network. What do you want me to do?
Nick's mind just races, right to a proposal that's been sitting on his desk for weeks, a plan to create an incident response team that he was just too busy to look at. He's kicking himself. And just when he's trying to think, his other line rings. Oh, great. It's the CEO, and she wants to know why she can't get to any internal web servers. Nick just sighs. This is going to be a very, very long day.
That feeling, that sheer panic and not knowing what to do next, that's exactly what we're going to solve today. First, we'll look at how you can assemble your own team of cyber firefighters. Then, we're going to walk through an 8-step blueprint to build it. We'll even dig into a really crucial question: should you protect or prosecute? We'll check out different staffing models, and finally, show you how to get from total chaos to being in complete control.
So how do you make sure you're never in Nick's shoes? Well, you build a dedicated team before the crisis even thinks about starting. This team has a formal name, and trust me, it's the key to turning that chaos into calm, collected control.
It's called a Computer Security Incident Response Team, or a CSIRT for short. So what is that really? Just think of it as your own special ops crew of IT and InfoSec pros who are trained and ready to jump into action the second an incident happens so they can detect it, react to it, and get you back on your feet.
Now, in a lot of companies, these folks aren't just sitting around waiting for an alarm. They've got day jobs. But when that alarm goes off, they drop everything they're doing to go fight the fire. It's the perfect analogy, really. They're like a volunteer fire department for your digital world, ready to go at a moment's notice.
Okay, a cyber fire department sounds amazing, but how in the world do you actually build one? Well, the good news is you don't have to guess. There's a proven 8-step blueprint that'll guide you the whole way. Carnegie Mellon's Software Engineering Institute laid out this really clear 8-step process. And look at the logic here. It flows perfectly, right? You start by getting the bosses on board, you figure out your vision, and then you move all the way through to building the team and making sure it stays effective. This isn't just a random checklist. It's a real strategic plan.
Let's be absolutely crystal clear about step 1, getting management support. This is the foundation. It's the whole ball game. It's the exact step Nick skipped, which is why he was left with no plan, no team, and no budget when things hit the fan. Seriously, without buy-in from the top, your CSIRT is pretty much dead on arrival.
Now, as you're planning, you've got to think about who's actually on the team. You need the right mix of skills. A good CSIRT isn't just one type of expert. It needs to be a diverse crew that can handle everything from deep diving on malware to managing firewalls to understanding cryptography. Oh, and here's one people always forget: documentation. It's absolutely vital because it's how you learn and get better after every single incident.
Okay, now, before your team can even think about responding to an alert, the whole organization has to make a really big decision. It's a philosophical one, really. When an incident happens, what's the actual goal?
And that decision really leads you down two very different roads. On one side, you've got protect and forget. The goal here is purely defensive. You stop the bleeding, get the systems back online, and you move on. But on the other side, there's apprehend and prosecute. This is all about getting justice. It means you're calling in law enforcement, you're carefully preserving evidence, the whole 9 yards. This one choice changes your team's entire playbook.
All right, so you know your philosophy. Now you got to decide who's actually going to be on the team. Are you going to build it completely with your own people, hire some outside guns, or maybe do a little bit of both?
When it comes to structure, you've got a few options. A smaller company might just have one central CSIRT that handles everything for everybody.
but a huge global company might need separate, distributed teams for each region or business unit. And then some go for a hybrid, with a central team that kind of advises other independent teams.
And what about outsourcing? Well, it's the classic trade-off, isn't it? On the plus side, you get instant access to 24/7 monitoring by pros without having to hire and train them. But the downside is you give up some control, and an outside team is never going to know your systems and your culture like your own people do. It's a tough balance between expertise and that invaluable insider knowledge.
So let's say you've done it. You followed the blueprint. You've got your team, you've got your plan, and you've got your philosophy all sorted out. You've made that journey from the chaos we saw in our opening story to a state of real, controlled readiness. So, how do you know if it's actually working?
Now, this is going to sound kind of weird, but one of the very first signs of success is actually a huge increase in the number of reported incidents. Now, that doesn't mean you're getting attacked more often. It means your employees are more aware, and more importantly, they actually trust that the new CSIRT is going to do something about it. They finally know who to call.
And finally, a CSIRT only gets better if it learns from its experiences. And that's exactly what the After-Action Review, or AAR, is for. After every single incident, the team gets together, and the goal is not to point fingers or assign blame. It's to ask, what went well, what didn't, and how can we do better next time? This constant feedback loop is what turns a pretty good plan into a truly great one.
We started this with Brody's panicked call to his boss. The whole point of building a CSIRT is to make sure that when that call comes to your organization, and believe me, it will, the person on the other end isn't scrambling trying to remember a plan they never read. They'll be ready. They'll be ready to execute. So the only real question left is, are you ready for the call?